Welcome, everyone, and good morning. My name is Sam Camarena. I'm the manager of the CSU Advancement Academy. And on behalf of the CSU Events Professionals Executive Council, I'd like to welcome you all for joining today. CSU EPN, for the Executive Council, is led by volunteers from CSU and UC campuses and is dedicated to providing impactful professional development to events professionals. Some of that impactful professional development is the on-call series, one of which is today. And these on-call series meetings provide a space for events professionals to explore trending topics with colleagues. Each month's roundtable is focused on a different topic. On-call meetings are usually the second Wednesday of the month from 11:30 to 12 p.m. Today's the only exception as there's a holiday tomorrow. On your screen now, you'll see the upcoming on-call meetings for December and January. The December meeting will be focused on events gamification, and the January, I know it's already January, commencement, it will be focused on commencement rather. And you all can keep up to date with everything that the CSU EPN is up to by joining our Facebook group, our LinkedIn group, and our ListServ. And these links will be dropped into the meeting chat momentarily for you to click through them. And if you have any questions on accessing any of these resources, feel free to shoot me an email as well. That's going to be in the chat also. Let's see here. Today's meeting is being recorded, as you've probably noticed, and the video will be shared with the registrants as well as the California Events Pro listserv. Up next, we're going to have two presentations that will hopefully inspire your next staff and employee appreciation event. There'll be an opportunity to ask our presenters questions right after these two presentations during our roundtable conversation. After that conversation, we'll hear from Picture Bakery and participate in a group photo activity. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce now Adrian McCraw, who's going to be our first presenter and tell us about a fun employee appreciation event that happened in UC San Diego. Adrian?
Hi, good morning. I'm off mute. Okay, good. Good morning, everyone. My name is Adrian McCraw. I am an event specialist with UC San Diego with the Office of Special Events and Protocol. Our team handles all the large-scale chancellor-sponsored high-profile events for our campus. Some of those events have included 4 of our annual staff appreciation celebrations. So 2 of those celebrations are held for our larger staff population. Our population is about, I think, 20,000 or so. And usually we have about 3,500 people that attend our summer celebration. And then we also have 2 additional corresponding events that we celebrate our nighttime staff as well. And those are a little bit more of a smaller scale, about 1 to 200. So in the past, our daytime events, as I said, hosted about 3,500 people. And this is usually held in the center of our campus in the summertime, usually in August. Beautiful weather, live entertainment, booths, barbecue, you get the idea. Next slide, please. So naturally, back in the spring, we struggled with how to begin to even plan an event, especially an appreciation event for our fellow staff members when we're all tired, overworked, zoomed out already, and most importantly, distracted. So yes, that is a shameless plug for my 3-legged dog, Betty. She's on Instagram. Anyway, our real struggle was how do we expect staff to stay connected, engaged, and appreciated with so much uncertainty? So I'm sure all you know, UC San Diego struggled with how to show this appreciation while still being sensitive to temporary layoffs and possibly job and salary cuts as well. So next slide, please. So our plan was to really empower, appreciate, and support our staff. So our office teams up with our staff association, and we create a diverse planning committee. And we collectively decided that a virtual event was going to be our best route. So we tried to figure out the best way to distribute in-person either swag bags or prepackaged lunches or anything to try to get this to feel as normal as possible. But we found that 1, this just wasn't normal, and 2, the sheer volume of staff that we would have to accommodate just was not safe, nor could it be feasible at the time. And we really didn't have the funding and wanted to be very conscientious about the optics. So that's another struggle that we've been working on. So next slide, please. So we went virtual. We decided a series of events throughout a 3-day period would help engage our staff who were working from home, homeschooling, or have adjusted schedules because of the homeschooling. So we wanted to make it easy, entertaining, and accessible while using our resources we already had. Excuse me. So we used our internal CMS website, which there's a example here on the screen. And then we created the event landing page. Of course, there was an upgrade going on right in the middle of creating this, and we had to use our own internal staff who are not web designers. So there was a little bit of extra work and learning to get this created. So as you can see here, we incorporated a staff slideshow as the hero image, and we found that this way the staff knew, that they were part of the event. And we asked the staff to submit some past team photos or current Zoom photos, and they could be part of the slideshow. So this slideshow then linked out to a YouTube video, which played an extended version with music. And we actually got so many submissions that the video was over 10 minutes long. But people wanted to see themselves, so they watched it. Next slide, please. So we also solicited our leadership to give video messages of support and gratitude. And we actually had a very overwhelming response and got almost 20 video submissions from leadership. And it was a great way to boost morale, especially since we asked for the same type of submissions for commencement and only got about 8 or 9. But that really said a lot for our staff and the gratitude the leadership had for all the hard work. So it was really great. Next slide. So as I mentioned, we had 3 days of activities, or we call them social sessions. Day 1 was a staff trivia, and we asked one of our staff association board members to host and curate some questions. These questions were UCSD related, pop culture, food and drink, etc. And she ran a very successful trivia game via Kahoot. So if you kind of think of like bar trivia style, where she had some little anecdotes. It was really fun. She was really great. And then day 2 was a fun, inclusive craft session. And this was hosted by our craft center director. And we basically sent out a list of items for people to collect around their homes that they could use. And she led a class on how to make a homemade notebook via Zoom. And this was a very exciting, engaging, fun. Staff were showing what they made and they were really proud. So it was really cute. And then day 3 was a staff talent show. We had about 5 submissions, and the acts range from a Mexican machete dancer who was amazing. We had a beautiful singer. We had a staff band that put together their own music video via Zoom, and a karaoke session with our staff association chair, who was really excited. It was one of our most attended events, and the engagement was great via the chat. People were super supportive, so it was fun. We did offer some prizes for the trivia and sent some Triton Staff Strong swag to some of the winners and participants. And they basically had to opt in to provide their address, and then we would send it ourselves, which was a little pricey, but we made it work. Next slide, please. So in addition to the 3 events, we also invited our staff affiliation groups to virtually table. So basically at our in-person celebrations, we included these groups to be a part of the event, and they would engage with staff by handing out giveaways, having games at their tables, and it was a good way to cut costs at our in-person events and still have stuff to do. So this year we invited them to create their own Zoom, and the groups would pick a day and a time to host a Zoom event. And then they would host a talk or a social activity. And we would ask them to advertise to their communities or their audience themselves. And it was a great way for staff to get to know the groups on a more personal level. So we got some really great feedback on the events. And we're in the process now of planning the holiday portion of our staff appreciation. And some of the things we're planning on are like a recipe exchange, a cooking demo, and a virtual photo booth, which you're going to see a little bit more about later on. So that's all for me right now. I welcome your questions at the end of the next presentation, and I will now turn it over to Megan to talk about her staff appreciation at Cal Poly.
Thank you, Adrian. Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Smeeheisen. I am the Donor Relations Event Specialist at Cal Poly in San Luis Obispo. I'm excited to share with you today the details of our most recent staff appreciation event. In contrast to Adrian's university-wide staff event, I had a bit of an easier, or at least smaller, undertaking. At the end of June, Cal Poly formally closed its record-breaking fundraising campaign, and we announced the success at a virtual event in early July. As I mentioned, I work in our donor relations department, but our shop is housed within the larger university development and alumni engagement division. As the division's lead event planners, we were tasked with celebrating the 80 staff members that were responsible for the campaign's amazing success. Like Adrian, and likely many of you, we struggled with the idea of a virtual event since we're all completely Zoomed out. Our first thought was, I wish we could send our team something, but as we all know, shipping costs right now are astronomical and budgets are slashed. On top of that, we wanted to gift our staff something that they could really use. So after a couple of brainstorming sessions and the green light from campus leadership, we had our idea. We'll celebrate the fruits and veggies of everyone's labor with a harvest box filled to the brim with provisions and produce crafted or grown by Cal Poly students, and we'll orchestrate the event as a drive-through for staff to pick up their harvest haul on campus. I have to tell you, after 6 months of exclusively planning virtual events, it was so fun and also a little bit weird to be planning something on campus and in person. As you can see, we went pretty playful with the digital invitation, which was designed by one of our talented student graphic designers. Our shop tends to work on fairly formal events, so it was refreshing to do something lighthearted and even a little silly with all the produce puns. For registration, we used a simple Microsoft form, which allowed staff to accept or decline their harvest box and also allowed them an option to request delivery if they were unable or uncomfortable attending the in-person event. We also wanted to make sure that staff felt comfortable we were taking all safety precautions and that everyone working the event would be in appropriate PPE. So we mentioned that both on the invitation and on the registration form. The day of the event, I reserved a handful of parking spaces along an easy to access green space on campus that allowed staff members to quickly enter and exit in their vehicle. Our donor relations team, along with division leadership and even President Armstrong, acted as on-site event staff. Our we placed a campaign branded harvest box in each guest vehicle, along with a pack that I like to call the COVID survival kit, which contained a bottle of Cal Poly wine, a branded cell phone power bank, university issued PPE, and a personalized note of appreciation from the president. The drive-through was scheduled for an hour, and I think that was the perfect amount of time. We had no issue with any vehicle backups and had a steady flow of guests throughout the event. Overall, I would deem it a huge success. We had about 65 out of 80 division staff attend the drive-through, and surprisingly, we only had a couple of people request delivery. And I have to say that was one of our biggest concerns, was that everyone would love the convenience of a delivery option and that the delivery process would be overwhelming. I think it just goes to show that everyone is really itching to get out of their house for a good reason and even connect for 15 minutes in a really safe, socially distant way. I have to say also that the president and senior leadership really loved being able to acknowledge staff in person, even though it was behind masks and face shields, and most people didn't even leave their cars. Staff themselves were also really appreciative of the gift. I had multiple colleagues tell me they were so excited, one, to see some of their colleagues that they haven't seen in 6 months, at least in person. And then others were just super stoked that it was something super useful that they could use. And it wasn't just another Cal Poly t-shirt. It was fun for me as the event planner to see a lot of social media, like some of my work friends posting their harvest boxes and getting lots of really good response. So yeah, that's it for me. That was our campaign celebration. And so happy now to open it up for Q&A and a roundtable discussion if you guys have any questions for myself or for Adrian.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It didn't look like anybody dropped anything in the chat, but I was wondering how you guys, if there was any employee input or feedback when planning these events. I know Adrian mentioned that there was already a set committee over at UC San Diego. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that, and then I'd like to hear from Megan if she's got any input from her division when she was planning this event as well.
Yeah. So yeah, actually, when we first started planning, we wanted to know where the staff was. So we actually set up a survey to see, one, if people would be interested in coming and getting something in person. I kind of talked a little bit about that and how it wasn't feasible. Two, what kind of important things they wanted to see or do. That's why we came up with trivia. Trivia was a real popular one, but we got about 500 responses from the survey initially, which helped guide our planning process, and it was really helpful. So I think, and going back to the committee as well, is the staff association. They're all volunteers. So I'm sure you guys have something very similar, but our vice chair, or our chair right now, he works for our environmental health and safety department. And so he has a lot of great input when we were doing the in-person or talking about the in-person part of it. He had a lot of input. And so, yeah, like I said, just that diverse committee and the survey was really helpful.
Super. Megan, anything to add?
So we didn't have like a large committee or anything. We were working on a fairly tight timeline. So we didn't solicit kind of feedback from the division as a whole, but we had a fairly diverse group on our team that was helping at least with like the preliminary planning. So yeah, that's how we handled it.
Awesome, love it. And sometimes it's just intuition too, right? You're in the same kind of work from home environment, what has some broad appeal. So our chat has exploded with questions, so I'm gonna send over a few to you guys right now. One of the first questions is, what incentives did you guys give or use to ensure staff participation? We know that in in-person events, free food and things like that are the biggest draw. But how did that kind of translate over to some of the events that you guys held?
Yeah, I can go with that. I mean, we did give away free food. So yeah, the box was really full, and Cal Poly Produce were amazing partners to work with. They were really excited to participate too. So yeah, they basically ran with the idea of what can we offer that would be a barbecue so that families we offered the event on a Friday. And so their thought process was, we'll put everything that you need for a barbecue. So we had like ears of corn, we had jarred barbecue sauce that are made on campus, tons of lettuce, beautiful heirloom tomatoes. I mean, the box was heavy and super full. So that was, I think, a draw for a lot of our staff. Was they knew the quality of ingredients that were coming. It was all organic. And I mean, who doesn't like to start a weekend with all of that great produce? You don't have to go to the grocery store. There's a bottle of wine involved too. So I think it was definitely kind of like what you were saying, Sam, the food was the incentive. And I also think getting out of your home office, which is like your kitchen table or your guest room, was really exciting for a lot of people too.
We had a different scenario. We worked with our real estate. We have a few new food vendors that were supposed to come onto campus. And of course, COVID happened. And they are opening some new eateries on campus in a new North Torrey Pines Living Learning neighborhood, which is a beautiful neighborhood. And so we worked with our real estate team to provide $10 vouchers to the vendors who also had off-site locations. And so we had about 5 vendors who we worked with who helped us with creating a system where people would sign up via Eventbrite, and they would get a ticket, which they could go into any one of these locations. They were throughout San Diego County. They could provide this Eventbrite ticket, and they would get up to $10 off their meal. And usually, they would only have to pay maybe $5 extra. It was a little bit difficult on the back end. It was something that we did have to budget for, and the vendors would then send us an invoice afterwards. So it was like we were kind of paying for food. But there was a lot of back end stuff, and some of the vendors didn't have systems or didn't know how to work Eventbrite. So they were, kind of send us these makeshift invoices. And then in addition to that, we also, I think I mentioned the Triton Strong swag bags that we had, which were unfortunately t-shirts, but we did have a really great logo, like I showed in the presentation. And the logos were actually people on Zoom currently. And so it was really nice for them to be incorporated with that. And then they got a magnet, a sticker, and a t-shirt. And then I think I mentioned prizes to the winners, where we gave Amazon gift cards to winners of trivia. And I think there were 4 rounds of trivia, so there are at least 4 winners. And then we also gave the gift certificates to our participants for the staff talent show as well.
Super perfect. Because that was the next question, was some clarification on the swag that you guys provided. Also in that question was what type of swag do you guys think is useful at this time? I think the PPE is a great example of that, especially when it can look so chic as the Cal Poly face mask. I mean, that one looks pretty nice. And like you guys mentioned, sometimes t-shirts folks are still wearing t-shirts. So that's a good thing to include as well. Wondering if you guys had any suggestions for holiday Zoom games for any upcoming holiday staff appreciation events. And that's a question that I'll pose to the whole group here on the call. If anybody has any good ideas, feel free to jump on, raise your hand or unmute yourself, or just drop it into the chat. We had a few folks share some neat ideas for events that are happening on their campus. Everyone is welcome to go ahead and contribute in the chat as well. But returning to the question of holiday games, not sure if you guys have thought that far ahead.
Well, like I mentioned, oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I haven't thought that far ahead, but if anyone has ideas, I would love to hear them, because I'm sure that will be one of my next undertakings.
We did a holiday bingo one year. It was in person, but I believe, and I'm not sure if that was the year Kimberly did celebrate the night, but there was an electronic component to it. And I've seen that there are free electronic bingo cards and games online. And I believe that Cliff, who is part of the executive committee, is implementing that for their commencement events in December. So I've been looking into that as well. I mentioned the holiday or recipe exchange as well. It's not really a game, but it's a way to get people talking about their traditions, and which is really important for our holiday celebration this year, is kind of the cultural celebrations and traditions as well. But Kahoot is always a good one. You can customize it to holiday theme questions if you want. That's really all I have. Kind of the same old stuff.
No, great suggestions too. And yeah, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of more options being discussed at the December meeting. That's all about game or event gamification rather. Wondering if you guys have done any DJ live streams, asking on behalf of FMB. I know we had one at the Chancellor's office where it was a live DJ, and I have seen a few kind of DJ streams, not sure if just on my own personal basis. Not sure if you guys have played around with that for your staff events.
We haven't for our staff events. I'm not sure, Megan, I don't want to jump over you, but we did for our homecoming event. It was actually a professionally produced DJ show that worked with an alum who is a DJ, and then as well as for our Triton Day back in the spring. We had it for all the newly admitted students. The DJs, I mean, they're looking for it right now. So I highly recommend reaching out to any of your student groups or, like I said, alumni networks. And it's really easy to do. You can do an Instagram live party, Facebook event, or just via Zoom, simply like this. Like we did a meeting and, you highlight the DJ and everyone kind of does their own little in-house dance party. It's been really fun.
Yeah, my experience is the same as Adrian's. I haven't done any of it personally, but I know that certain divisions on campus have done it primarily with student attendees.
Super. And then last question from the chat. How did you guys go about promoting your event, marketing it, and any lessons learned or recommendations in general for how the event went?
You want me to go first, Adrian?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So we announced our campaign celebration event at a weekly division call that we have division-wide. And then we also sent out the digital invite that I shared with everyone. It was on the division-wide calendar. And we also scheduled it to follow our division quarterly summit, which was virtual. So that kind of even made it a little bit more fun too, because we had a couple of hours of programming via Zoom, and then we were able to kind of get out of the house, stretch our legs, and then go attend this drive-through event. So we made sure to remind people of the campaign event, like right at the close of the summit.
Ours was a little more challenging. As I mentioned, we have I think 20,000 something staff members. We're the third largest employer of San Diego County. So you would think that our outreach would be easy and we could cast the net wide. But like I said, we work with our staff association. And so we rely heavily on folks to sign up for the staff association newsletter and flyers, because that was our primary target for marketing for internal staff. It was hard to justify reaching out to our actual marketing and communications because they're very forward facing. And these aren't really events that we want to advertise to the community really. And so we rely heavily on our internal staff association and internal committee to help promote the event, which for people who aren't marketing professionals can be really challenging. So the staff association does have some social media networks. So, Instagram, Facebook, I don't know about TikTok, but probably soon. And so trying to get that information out and trying to have a plan was a little challenging. We did learn that coming up with a marketing plan for the committee is probably good to do in the future, and timelines for notifications. We also have I'm sure you guys have like an internal campus notice or campus flyer system, which we utilize that. And that really is what gets most of the traffic in. And, typically we've always had a pre-registration and people would sign up right away. I mean, we would get thousands of people for the in-person events that sign up, in a matter of minutes. And this was a little bit more challenging. So it definitely is something that requires, I would say, some sort of marketing professional guidance if you're, like I said, reaching out to a larger network. But, again, hopefully we don't have to be doing this for too long, but something to take away.
Awesome, thank you. That is a fantastic answer. Yeah, thanks. And I will have to give a shout out to our friend Shauna Blair, who's kind of the chat queen. She put two really good detailed suggestions in there for everybody, and that's great. A few folks are wondering, and this is to the whole group, if folks have thought through their holiday party enough to share, and whether that's going to be a virtual celebration or some kind of hybrid celebration. Anybody planning that?
I don't want to take the floor and I really want to hear other people, but we currently are for our large staff, as I mentioned. Again, it's going to be virtual. California is kind of going into the what's it called? Almost purple tier, right? Things are kind of going backwards, which we're not really happy about. So hybrids aren't really on our leadership's calendar or forecast. But yeah, we are doing virtual again. It is another 3-day. We're splitting it up a little bit where we're doing 2 days of the kind of main events or social sessions again. And then the middle day is going to be focused with our staff affiliation groups. And they're going to be focusing on cultural traditions or celebrations. And so we're going to have kind of, we haven't finalized everything, but kind of have a day of sharing your cultural and family traditions with the staff affiliates. I see
Super.
someone has their hand raised.
Yeah, Melanie, you had a thought?
I do. Hi, I'm Melanie from, I work with Adrian, but I'm in the Office of the Executive Vice Chancellor at UC San Diego. And we did a neat event for Halloween. Our staff of about a dozen of us gathered and had we did a virtual lunch and we did a craft. So all the craft items were sent in advance to my colleagues and we're all, and then all staff members. And then we on our campus, the restaurant group that handles our faculty club, Miho Catering, they had just right at that time started offering simultaneous delivery to people's homes. And so we did that. And it was amazing how much everybody enjoyed it. We ate our lunch together and then we worked on the craft and we didn't have an agenda. It wasn't any business and everybody felt you could see the stress levels just dropping and everybody like commented about how special they felt. They felt appreciated and they felt heard and it was paid for out of pocket by our chief of staff. She didn't want to get messy with, well, this is not really business or whatever. So she's like, I'm just going to pay for it. And it really went well. And I think we're going to do a gingerbread decorating contest at our homes. Like each of us will have our own gingerbread house. And I think we're all going to, last year we did it in teams, but before COVID. And so I think we're going to do something like that too with a lunch. This is a small scale group, under 20, but if you can do something, I think that really can, it's very achievable and it really means a lot to the people.
Super. Thank you for sharing, Melanie. There's a bit of a follow-up question in the chat. Folks are wondering if you provided folks the crafting materials or like the gingerbread materials, or if that was put up on their own.
No, so we ordered those from Paper Source, and they actually went to one staff member's house who was apparently tasked with having to do that, and I don't think that worked very well. So I think if you can do like a drop ship thing, that would be a lot easier because I think it made a lot of work for the staff member. And one person didn't get it, but they were really gracious and said, it's okay, I have something else I can work on while you guys are doing your thing. And so it worked out okay. But all the meals went really well. Everybody loved it. They said it was delicious and it was really affordable. It was under our meal allowances, even though we could have actually spent more since we weren't paying out of funds. But anyway, so that was, be quiet, cat. So my cat
Super, love it.
So
Super.
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll mention too, at the Chancellor's office, we're having a decorating contest too. We just got the email this morning. If I think I saw some of our HR professionals here that are working on it. If they want to jump on and share a few details, that'd be great too. But all the same, I'll let the group know how that goes. Excited to see what that looks like. So folks will be submitting photos of their gingerbread decorations, and they're going to get posted on the website where the whole staff can vote on them. And then the winners, after the winners are announced, then they'll assign names to the photos, and then you get to see who created what. So that's exciting too. And I know at the Chancellor's office, we have a really big decorating tradition. The first or second year I started working there, like one of the floors turned into a complete Santa's village for the holidays. It was insane. So good to see that. I know we have folks with a lot of holiday spirit at my office, so I'm looking forward to see what that looks like this year. Super. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and welcome our friend Cheryl Marie Toussaint, who's going to talk to us about Picture Bakery. I know we saw a couple questions in the chat about this earlier. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and put up her slide, and we're going to hear about this neat feature that we have. One second here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. My name is Cheryl Marie. I own a company called Picture Bakery, and my specialty and passion is really working with event planners, alumni groups, universities on how to make their events more engaging, memorable, and fun through a virtual photo booth. I know at least one of you had a question about it, so hopefully through the slide deck, I'll be able to answer those questions. Our clients really have had a lot of great success adding photo booths into their online events, graduations, homecoming celebrations. And I think more than anything else, they just don't feel like they sat in front of a boring screen. They feel like they can really get creative and inspired to create memories in front of their own computer. So we can go to the next slide. Awesome. So before I get into anything else, I just want to go into exactly what is a virtual photo booth and how does it work? So a virtual photo booth is an online virtual experience that allows schools to engage and connect with students through photos, gifts, and boomerangs. Just like you see here on this page, this is an example homepage screen. You can see that we created a landing page and it can have your university logo and students can choose from those 3 experiences. The picture is then taken either through their mobile device or a laptop, and they can choose between all the different overlays and graphics, and they can instantly share their photo after taking the picture. And what I'll do at the end is I'll drop in the chat a link for you to try it yourself. And then just going into some of the benefits, we can go to the next slide. So some of the most popular benefits of having a virtual photo booth is it really magnifies and intensifies school spirit, as you can see right here in the picture to the right. It also builds up social interaction on media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. It encourages fun, quirky experiences, and it also increases engagement and reach by people sharing their photos and boomerangs. And we can go to the next slide. As an event organizer, we always want to bring engagement to the meetings. So one of my first tips for virtual photo booth success is that we always have a planning meeting to discuss your goals, really plan your creative content that will make your event lively and fun. In this example, on the top right, you can see, so we did a Triton Welcome event and alumni had 6 different spots they could choose to be in front of. So they could be in front of the library or they could be in front of a beach. And we branded the virtual photo booth experience as we can import you to your favorite spots on campus and share it with your friends. This creates virtual memories for students and alumni. And by adding this photo experience to your attendees, they just feel appreciated and connected. And they don't feel like we're doing just the bare minimum. They feel like we're adding a little bit of fun and making it memorable. We can actually go back to the other slide. Sorry about that, Sam. On the go back one more slide. Awesome. And then on the left here, you can see this very spirited photo from the virtual 5K that one of the alumni took. And it really just increases school spirit and fun. And then we can go to the next slide. So something that we are incorporating that is new is custom stickers. So just to make your event stand out, make the experience even more creative, we can design custom stickers. So it can have your school logo. It could say Staff Appreciation Day or a thought bubble that says looking good or you're awesome, or it even can have a virtual crown. As soon as they go in front of the screen, they can choose to put a little crown on their head. This is great because you can tie in your event theme into the virtual photo booth experience. Another thing we love to give our clients is giving them all the marketing materials they need to announce the virtual photo booth. So we can provide a custom video, we provide digital flyers and postcards. These marketing materials are great because it really encourages students and alumni to use the technology and also gives them example photos, which you'll see here on the right, and directions on how to take the best photo. Awesome. Well, here is my contact info if you need some inspiration or some support or just somebody to bounce some ideas off for your next event. Again, I'll put the virtual photo link in the chat below, and you can also scan on this right-hand side, you can scan the QR code. A lot of people these days, in restaurants, they're doing the QR code scan. So you can scan that QR code and it'll take you to a homepage. It is branded as an example for UC San Diego, but we can brand the website and overlays with your school in your colors and customize it just the way you like. And I'd love to hear from you and hear more about your next event. My contact info is here, my email, and the best number to reach me. And one thing that I wanted to mention is before we end that, one of our most popular packages is actually our professional. It's almost like a Zoom professional photographer package, where we actually take your picture and make sure everyone's posed, there's good lighting, and everyone looks picture perfect. And then we also add a special graphic element, which Sam, we can hop over one more slide. We can add a special graphic element to create a cool little digital keepsake to send to your attendees later. So I think let's do the photo right now. I know some of you weren't expecting this, so that's okay. We're just gonna roll with the punches here. So if everyone could turn their video on, that would be great. All right, I'm gonna give you guys just awesome. I see you, Andre, Susan, Nicole. Good, everyone's looking good. Okay, let me just close this chat right here. Awesome. Okay, couple more people I'll wait on. Christy, do you mind bringing your face closer to the screen? You're back a little too far. If you could just bring it, beautiful, a little bit more. There you go, awesome. Okay, I'm gonna start here on this row. And then Melody, could you bring your face forward just a little bit? Gorgeous, yeah, I like that sun popping through, beautiful. You look great, Gail. Okay, awesome. Good. Thank you, everyone, for turning your cameras on. I wasn't sure everyone would. Awesome. You guys look great. Erin, is there any way we can get a little bit more light on your face? Do you have a light you can turn on? No? Okay. All good. All good. There you go. If you could come in just a little bit more. There you go. Beautiful. Okay. Because we have over 49 participants, I'm going to take 2 screenshots. Dania, if you could come in a little closer. There you go. Beautiful. Gorgeous. A little bit more. And see if, yeah, you can bring yourself a little more front and center. Yeah, perfect. All right. And I'll just look on the second gallery. Beautiful. Karen, could you bring your face up just a little bit? Beautiful. Awesome. All right, guys. Looking good. Gorgeous. Okay, here we go. I'm actually going to turn my video off so I won't be in your picture. Okay. Awesome. All right. Big smile, guys. Look right at the camera. Beautiful. 1, 2, and 3. Perfect. Let me do one more on the second gallery. 1, 2, and 3. All right. We're going to have some fun on this next one. I want you to give me a little wave. Give me some smiles. There you go. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Let me get to the second gallery. Do that one more time. Give me a little wave. Give me some smiles. Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for having me. And I'll stick around a little bit in case you have questions as well. I can answer them.
And then we'll be sending the photos to registrants along with the video link for the recording. So yeah, a neat element. I always like when Zoom calls make you do a little something extra to wake you up. Alrighty. So I'll leave it to the group if there are any questions for Cheryl. It seems like a very neat tool. So I'll pause here and see if anybody has any questions for her. Alrighty, pretty quiet, but pretty quiet. So folks can reach out to, Cheryl, did you drop your email in the chat or did we just gonna catch the QR code?
I'll drop it right now.
Yeah, go ahead, and that way folks can reach out to you for specific questions regarding any potential bids they might have. Excellent, thank you, Cheryl. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us here, and I hope that you guys found the presentations and the discussions helpful. I'm going to share my screen one more time so I can remind everybody of the on-call sessions that are coming up next month and in January. Looking forward to those as well. And as a reminder, everybody, you can stay connected with the CSUEPN and hear all about all the things that we're up to by following us on our Facebook group, our LinkedIn group, and joining our listserv. And you can reach out to me if you have questions on any of those. Thanks everyone again for logging on, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and you guys enjoy the holiday tomorrow for everybody who has it off. And thanks again, everyone. Goodbye.